Hey, what's up, everybody? The DeFi After Party is here today, and I got Mr. AJ Brockman on the line. AJ, say what's up to everybody.
Hey, Christian and everybody at the DeFi Afterparty. What's up, guys? Happy to be here.
I wanted to get AJ on the line because since he knows pretty much everything or a lot of things, I would say, about DexFi, since he's AJ, are you technically co-creator of DexFi, by the way?
Yeah, so I mean, again, technically speaking, I would say yeah. I mean, I wasn't around in the beginning when Jake and the original DexFi devs, cooked us up. Obviously, we were using their tech, and then when we merged about 2 years ago now, yeah, we basically, are attached to the hip now. So, but I gotta give credit where credit's due. I mean, the main infrastructure, the main design. Everything came from DexFi originally.
Awesome. Yeah, I know you've been involved, especially from kind of the marketing side slash ownership side, for a while now. But I didn't know if you're super involved on the creation of like the tech side of it. So I just wanted to get some clarity for myself and all the people watching. So this video, I had this question that was going on in my head for a while. It was about being able to get into different vaults by depositing what is called, what do you call it? Just the LP pair, AJ?
Yeah, so again, and this is really cool. I'm glad we're going over this today because a lot of people don't even know this is a possibility. But yeah, there's basically three different ways to enter any of our vaults, and people are usually used to doing either ETH or USDC, and then that will go and what we call the zap into the LP. It's much easier. It's a lot less steps and DexFi handles all that on the back end through the smart contracts. But you can just submit your LP token, and yeah, I call it just straight LP, but technically speaking, it's an actual NFT that represents your ownership in the LP. So from a technical standpoint, again, it's considered an NFT. But I refer to it as just your LP position.
Cool. So that is what I wanted AJ to show me how to do today, because maybe you have some of these tokens lying around that maybe you want to use to deposit into some of these vaults. Now, what we discovered so far is that maybe it's only for certain tokens, but at least for the ones we're looking at today, eShare. In order to deposit eShare, the eShare LP, you have to be able or to have a vault that only has eShare in it only, not any other tokens, pairs, etc. So that's why I'm going to be showing this vault today, the eShare mining rig vault. And so we will be creating the eShare LP or NFT, as AJ said, to deposit into here. So that's what we're doing today on this video. So AJ, walk me through it. What do I need to do?
All right, yeah, for sure, brother. And again, you just to reiterate what you said, it is currently, and again, I gotta check with the devs even, but I'm 99% sure that you're only able to do this if it's a an actual vault and not a multiple asset farm because we refer to vaults as just a single LP that is managed through the AILM. And a farm is essentially, a vault with multiple LPs in it. So today we're just going to talk about the single LPs, and yeah, eShare mining rig. This vault is a great example. So what we're going to do before we go to Uniswap, I just want to make sure that we got to know a few things. Before we do this. So number one, you at the upper left, and sorry for the background noise. I'm with the kids today, but on the upper left right there, Christian, where it shows the ETH eShare position, and it's got a green 1% next to it. Yep, right there, brother. So this will show you the actual all the relevant info you need to know first. So we know it's ETH eShare. Again, it says WETH or wrapped ETH. But that's just because whenever you enter a new LP, it turns into wrapped ETH. But the allocation is the Uniswap, and if you hover over the little question mark icon too, it oh, the other one there at the top. Yep, that one. So you can see it's the Uniswap concentrated liquidity pair. So CL concentrated liquidity Uniswap 1%. So now we know where the LP lives. And so now we need to go to Uniswap and remember the 1% fee tier because that will matter. And one more thing too, before we jump over, if you go to the right-hand side there, Christian, where it says the AILM and the range, yeah, right next to that. So this is also really important because you have to set your LP to mimic or mirror that range. And so right now, the AILM has determined that the optimal range right now is minus 38% and plus 61%. So that is a really wide range because eShare has been super volatile, and so is ETH for that matter. And so those are the two things you need to know going into this. You need to know where the LP lives, and what fee tier, and then you need to know the range. So now that we have both of that, let's jump over to Uniswap. If you can, yeah.
So AJ, are we quick question before we continue. I know we're creating the LP on Uniswap, like we're going to be mashing or creating the NFT for the lack of a better term, I believe. And then are we taking the NFT and bringing it back to DexFi and depositing in DexFi?
We are, yeah, brother. So again, just to kind of go full circle, and this is probably a good thing to go over again. DexFi vaults are essentially just a way to manage your LP pairs. So again, the liquidity has to live somewhere, and you're always in control of that LP in the vault. So we are just basically a middleman or a middle layer for lack of a better word, that allows you to manage your LP more effectively. So again, when when people say, well, DexFi has, all the tokens, it doesn't really work like that because we don't actually have liquidity of our own, right? The liquidity itself still has to live on the dexes. We are just again the the middle layer that helps effectively manage that LP so that you don't have to do it on your own. And it goes a lot further with our AILM, and the automation in our system. That is something that isn't even offered when you're doing it through Uniswap or providing LP manually. So those are the benefits of why Dex vaults are so powerful.
Yeah, DexFi is a software, a SaaS.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Totally. Yep. Software as a service for sure. Yep.
Okay, cool. What do I do?
All right. So, you're gonna go and create your new position. So, right here on Uniswap, you go to pool, which you're already on. Yep. And then, yeah. So just go ahead and click new. All right. And then here you're gonna select your pair, right? So we know it's ETH and eShare. It should pop up. I know we've been getting some warnings that eShare is a malicious site. We've been trying to report that. And it's not our fault. It's just the way that Uniswap reads it. But yeah, on base, make sure you pick the right one. Yep, there it is. It'll have the logo as well. So just continue. And again, if you get that warning again, do us a favor and submit that it is a false flag. But yeah, so that's it. You got it. The right you share, you're good. Yep. Base
So,
ETH, perfect. Yep.
quick
Yeah.
question before I continue.
Yep.
Um, I'm gonna go back here, deposit, and it says WETH eShare. So should we make this WETH instead of ETH, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. No, you can do either or whatever you have. When you create the LP, it will automatically wrap your ETH for you. So, the wrapped ETH is just a nomenclature, issue, but it'll do it no matter what.
Okay, and then another question right here says V4 position. Does this matter at this moment?
Yes, so good catch, brother. So yeah, it will have updated when we go to the fee tier area as well. But yeah, make sure that you put it on V3. So you do need to do that. If you make a mistake and you did V4 or whatever, you can just break break your LP and you won't there's no fees or anything other than gas, but on base, it's like a half a penny. So yeah, make sure you're V3. And yeah, you're right there. So when you clicked to V3, you saw that the fee tier now automatically populated, right? So it already knows that the highest TVL is that 1% fee tier, right there. So if it didn't pop up or whatever, go to more and you can see you would be able to pick different fee tiers. So, but 1% is what we want. So again, remember, if you get confused or forget, you go back over to Dex Vaults and it will show you the percentage in the green box.
Nice. You know what I like about this, AJ, is that it says best for exotic pairs.
Yeah, bro, no doubt. eShare is definitely an exotic pair again. The more volatility, the higher fee tiers are usually better. So, all right, awesome. So then, really, that's it, man. That's the hardest part. You go to continue, and then on the next page, we're gonna show the actual ranges.
So I feel like because this is best for exotic pairs, like I'm buying like a Lambo. So that's good for
Yeah,
crypto.
it is, no doubt, bro. One Lambo. Yeah.
Win Lambo. Let's go. Okay. What do
All
we do
right.
now?
Perfect, bro. So now we're gonna go to custom range, which it's already on. And yeah, you're gonna refresh the price too. Sometimes if you take a while, it may need to update, but or it might just be an error, but I think we're okay. Anyway, so you're gonna click custom range, which we're on. And then this is where you can set your ranges both visually or by hand. So yeah, if you go all the way down a little more, you can see it. There's some presets. So right now, the wide range is minus 50% plus 100%. And remember from earlier, if we go back, we needed it to be minus, what is it? Okay, yeah, so minus 38 and plus 61. So you remember those. Um, I would just hit wide so that it gets close. And then there you go. And then you're going to set your minimum price. Yep. And just hit minus till it's minus 38%, or at least close. Oh, yeah, plus, sorry. Yeah. Um, and again, it doesn't have to be totally exact. Just get it as close as you can because, we're going to see something really cool, in a minute, in regards to that. So, yep, there you go. And then get that in the right range.
So this is why you were saying earlier we need to know this information. Like I thought we were just somehow mashing some tokens together and voila, we're ready to go.
Yeah, bro. So it is a little bit more advanced. That's why, if you're just using ETH, or USDC, this is all done for you, right? So, but again, it's good to know you have options, as well. So, all right, awesome. I think that is as close as we're gonna get. And so then you just type in whatever you have. So yeah, I don't know. Again, for test purposes. I would just do like 0.00 01 ETH, and then it should automatically update the eShare amount. Yep, perfect. So we're
So I have a question. So
yeah.
es essentially, this question is about the dollar amount here. I mean, I know we're talking about, you know, amounts of ETH and amounts of eShare. But dollar amount wise, this, for lack of a better term, this would be kind of like the screen we're looking at right now. The total between ETH and eShare is roughly $3 in
Correct.
combined value. So is that kind of like the equivalent of depositing $3 USDC into the DexFi Vault?
Yeah, bro, 100%. So just like we're doing this right now, it would do the exact same thing for you automatically through our smart contracts, if you were doing USDC or ETH, whatever it ends up being. But yes, the $3 value, quote unquote, would split the into ETH and eShare, and actually buy them. Now, another bonus to this, which we've seen some other newer protocols come out that claim, they're doing something completely different and revolutionary. And I won't get too much into that, but it's basically a bit of baloney because anybody can set ranges. And even in our vaults, you can do custom ranges outside of the ALM as well. But this is an example of you being able to set your ranges without having to actually swap into the asset. So like again, there's this new wave of like swapless LP providing, and honestly, it's just words. Like the tech is nothing different. And this is how you would do it. So anybody can create LP without having to swap in, if you have the assets. Now, obviously, if you don't have eShare or ETH, no matter what, you're gonna have to buy it, right? So, that's also a caveat for sure. Or again, if you're patient or a little bit more advanced, you could even set a range of just ETH. So, like in other words, when the min price and max price that we just set, you could just set a price that is single sided, meaning basically 0% the eShare side, and do all of it as the ETH side, and then you provide LP with only one of the assets. Now that is a definitely an advanced structure, and we could do a whole video on that alone. But I'm just trying to explain the different situations that of which DexFi can handle all of that. So
Yeah, let's go over that in another video. Well, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of reasons why to do it and a lot of reasons why not to do it.
yes, exactly, bro. And that's the key takeaway, right? There's no magic bullet. There's no, this no revolutionary tech that nobody else has ever thought of or developed. It's just better for different situations, right? So, what you would do in a bear market or with the price going down may be totally different than what you would do in a bull market or the price going up. And again, there's pros and cons like you said, to everything. And that doesn't mean that one is worse than the other, but we at DexFi, we've done literally, going on 5 years of true market data to show what is the best result, and the most yield generated. And that's what we've built and that's what we have. And the AILM knows all of that, to be able to set, you know, a wide enough range that you're not having to micromanage it and that you stay in range, right? Because again, part of the caveat is if you set a range and don't actually swap into the token, you spend you know hours, if not days, outside of the range, and then you're not earning anything on your capital whatsoever. So, you may be trying to save a swap fee, and in reality, you lose an entire day or more of earning. So, you're in the famous words of Richard Hart, you're picking up pennies in front of a freight train. So yeah, the whole idea is that you wanna put your capital to work for sure.
Nice. Okay, cool. So hit review.
Yep, you hit review and then it'll just confirm it and then you hit create. Yep, perfect. Yep, it might take a while, I know, to get it going, but then yeah, you just sign and approve, and then it will create the LP, which again, technically speaking, it is an NFT. All right, so it approved. Yep, now you just got to make it, and it will show you, the numbers here. Yeah, so 0.01, which is about $1.50, and then you can see an unknown NFT with a +1. That's the LP position it's creating for you. All right, awesome. So there you have it. It is on the Uniswap dashboard, and like you said, you can see the position value is $3.13, and we have a range that mimics what the AILM has set. And why that's important is what we'll show next. So you go back over to the vault, and then it will recognize, you don't even have to refresh. It already knows. So it recognizes that ETH eShare, wrapped ETH eShare LP now. So when you go to deposit, you now are able to just deposit the actual LP exactly. So click on that. All right, now this is another really cool thing. So you can see that it shows it's in range and that everything looks good. Now, we didn't get, remember earlier I said, remember, we weren't able to get the ranges exact.
Mhm.
So again, there's an amazing feature. We just approve the NFT and deposit it, and it will actually refund you the difference. So when you do this, you will get a little bit of eShare or a little bit of ETH back for those areas that were technically out of range compared to the AILM. So again, just really cool stuff that we've accounted for everything when it comes to depositing. So yeah, all you do now is approve the NFT. Again, it needs the approval to be able to deposit the NFT. And then yeah, so sometimes if it's a new account or people haven't used it, yeah, you just, it'll give you a little error, but you say, "Mm, go ahead, approved, yep, and then deposit. And then when you do this, you'll see, you should see the little refund as well. Let's see. Boom, there you have it. So again, you can see you're actually getting 1 cent of eShare and 1 cent of ETH back. And it says it's minusing your Uniswap NFT position. So the NFT now is no longer technically in your wallet. It's on, Dex Finance. But again, you can withdraw and claim at any time. So, but yeah, and then you should be good to go. You may have to refresh one more time, but then if you go to the bottom, it should show in the that there's a new deposit. So
Yeah, my deposit amount went up on the main deposit window because it was 62 and now it's 65. So
perfect. Yep, the $3. That's it. So
history,
yep,
personal, yeah. So convert list, deposit 306. So this is just interesting because when we went to Uniswap, I'm like, why do we have to set ranges? So what I'm gathering for this, and I could be 100% wrong, but what I'm gathering from this is that technically we are creating the LP slash we're depositing money into the liquidity pool, or maybe we're not depositing the liquidity pool. Maybe we just I don't know. Here's the reason why I'm asking this question. See, when we're setting ranges on Uniswap, I'm like, why? Because I'm like, we're not, at least to my knowledge, we're not depositing into the liquidity pool on Uniswap right there. But maybe I'm wrong, and we are. And then the NFT essentially is a receipt. We're bringing that receipt over to DexFi. We're depositing or showing that receipt by depositing into DexFi, and then DexFi is now managing the LP for us. Is that right? Am I totally
exactly.
100%?
Yeah, brother. No, I love it, man. You worked it out. As you were speaking, you're getting it, right? So the second part of what you said is exactly how it works. So again, we Dex Finance and all of our vaults, we are not an exchange, right? We don't house any LP. You have to have LP on actual DEXs first. And so that is exactly what you said. It's essentially a receipt token, or in this case, an NFT, that proves you own the position in the liquidity. And Dex Finance, once you deposit it, Dex Finance just basically manages that position in the most effective way possible. So yeah, it's really, really, again, you said it perfectly. So
Man, I'm good, AJ. Like
you
I,
are, bro.
I
Yeah.
I'm sort of still a crypto noob for the most part, and I'm just like, wow, that's why we're setting these ranges. Okay, I got it. I mean, to me, I was like, why is AJ telling me all this crap about the range? Why do we got to know this? I thought we're just mashing two tokens together, bringing it back here, and depositing. But no, there's a rhyme and a reason.
Yep, absolutely, Christian. And again, man, if it is overwhelming for people, we have built the literal easiest way of doing it right in, to where you don't even need to know how to create LP. It's all done for you under the hood, which is ETH or USDC. So, but yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's about creating better crypto users, right? You know that that's a big part of my ethos. So yeah, I'm happy that we can go over and show people how to do it and what to do for sure. So
And that's crazy. So originally, when I first did my very first ever DexFi overview with AJ, um, we talked about what DexFi was, specifically the vaults, and how it works, and basically the easy way of zapping in to any of the vaults with USDC or ETH, right? Because AJ was like, if you were to individually do this for all the vaults or pools that you wanted to be in, it would take a long time. And if you're only using Uniswap or whatever exchange or whatever decentralized exchange it might be, um, then you would have to actively monitor your ranges or your investments on, for example, Uniswap, right? But here, not only can we zap in with ease and not have to go set ranges or approve, and how long? I mean, that probably would have took me, now that I know how to do it, like at least I would say, I don't know, somewhere between 30 and 60 seconds.
yeah,
That's just because I know how to do it now. But
totally.
really, I don't even need a waste. I could come in and deposit USDC and be done in about 5 seconds or 10 seconds, right? So totally, I mean, let's see, I don't know what the percentage of time that is, but it's like it takes it takes 6 times longer essentially to do that on Uniswap, right? Or at least 3 times longer. So you're saving time there. And then on top of that, you also have the dashboard, which is keeping track of all your vaults that are showing, the APY, the daily TVL, blah blah blah, and your profits and whatnot. So I think
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. And not only that, but is there? Let's go back here. Is there a setting on here? Why does it say no positions?
yeah.
Oh,
So
oh,
you,
because I took it
yep,
away. I got it.
exactly, bro. Yep, no, but I think what you're gonna say is on point. Go ahead, I'll let you finish. Yep.
Yeah, what I was going to say was, let's say my position was still showing here. Is there a setting on there for compounding and profit like there is on DexFi, by the way?
There is not. So again, all the literally all the software, or smart contracts through the exchanges themselves. I mean, there may be a few that offer it, allow you to compound fees, but they're insane high fees, and they don't have any of the splits that you can do. So that alone is revolutionary tech. that the big guys developed a while ago that we made even better. So yeah, right there, the compound profit. I mean, you through DexFi, you're able to determine where the profit goes, where the compound goes, and honestly, that is such an underrated addition, right? Because as we all know, the power of compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. And if you're having to go and manually claim your rewards and then re-add them again, all manually, to, your position, even if you were glued to the computer and you were able to do that, say, once or twice a day, which again is nonstop all day, every day, uh, for a year, that guaranteed you're gonna miss a few days, right? And every time you miss that, that is literally money that you are losing because that capital is not working for you again. With our vaults, it is systematic. And again, if the vault is big enough and the gas fees are covered, it happens once an hour. So now you're able to compound your rewards into a position that you want to build anyway, right? Who doesn't want more eShare and ETH, or whatever it is, whatever LP you pick? Because if you're providing LP, you should be happy with your exposure. I mean, it could be exponential the gains. Somebody that's doing this manually, as opposed to doing it through our system, after an entire year, you can outperform by literally, 100%. I mean, like crazy, crazy numbers. So yeah, that is the biggest value add, is being able to again manage those positions and automatically compound without ever having to look at it.
For all the people in the back that didn't hear what AJ just said, let me reiterate it in a different way, in a way of how I view this, okay? Because it is so uncanny to me, AJ, how many people don't see this the way I see it and are just sleeping on DexFi as a whole. Because what AJ just said was what DexFi allows you to do, which again is a software that Uniswap does not allow you to do, is basically take the overall profit and in this particular vault, compound 80% of those profits back into the position, and then take 20% of that as whatever actual profit take home, put in your wallet, put in your pocket, and whatever token you want. In this vault, it's eShare, right? So let me, AJ, this is so insane to me that this is available and that DexFi is not, charging for the overall software. I know you guys make money on the fees, but you guys are not charging for the software. I mean, I feel like you guys should be charging at least $100 a month for the software. Let me tell you why. And this is why I think most people are sleeping on it. In the traditional business world, if you're to start a business, okay, I'm in construction and the remodel business, okay? If I were to start a business and I wanted it to be fully legit, meaning LLC, licensing, insurance, tools, marketing budget, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, company name, yada, yada, yada. We're talking about at least 10 grand that I would need to do something of importance and be on my feet and having business come in from near day one. Okay. $10,000. And I would have to actively manage that business. Maybe I don't need to have employees, but I would be needing to take some risk, right? Let's knock it down. Let's not knock it down, but let's take another example. Let's take a vending machine, like those vending machines where you can buy soda or cookies or whatever. I'm not sure how much those machines cost, but I would say they cost somewhere between 5 and 10 grand each. So let's take the lower number, 5,000. You still have risk of putting it somewhere, getting broken or stolen. You have to restock it with the products, the cookies or the soda, right? You got to maintain it. It's going to break. It needs oil or whatever. There's stuff that goes behind it. You got to put it in a popular place. You got to probably have to rent out a space like a park or a building or whatever. You got to pay some sort of money in order to have it at someone's place. This to me is a business, right? Investing in these different vaults is a business to me. Because the way I look at it is I'm putting money in, which I would invest in a business anyways. I'm an entrepreneur. Most people that have a lot of money, especially in crypto, they're entrepreneurs, right? There are some people that just want to make $100 or $1,000 or hopefully, some token moons, and they're like, yeah, I'm a 10,000-aire or maybe even a millionaire or whatever, and that's great. Maybe they're not an entrepreneur. Maybe they're just wanting a lot of money. But what I see here is a business opportunity. And I view it as this is like a virtual vending machine that I have planted on the internet, and it passively makes me money every day. Right now, in this wallet, this is just a tutorial wallet. So, there's not much going on here. But I have other wallets, right, with bigger investments. And again, I'm not the biggest crypto investor whatsoever. There's people that have a lot more invested than I do. But what I'm trying to point out here is that this DexFi machine, this software, is basically a virtual vending machine where it is taking money that I'm making every day and recompounding it back into the business. In this particular vault, 80% back into this particular business. This is insane. And I don't understand, AJ, why more people don't get it, because it's like this is the lowest, maybe not the lowest risk. It's crypto, don't get me wrong. But from like kind of a traditional business standpoint of where you're going to be a contractor and take on risk of, construction projects, or you're going to take on a risk of a vending machine. In my opinion, if you got into a decently low risk profile token like ETH or some blue chips or whatever, you're still gonna be better off than buying a freaking vending machine. And this, my friends, is insane, and you should not be sleeping on it.
I love it, man. No doubt, Christian. Again, every time we get together, I get bullish and inspired all over again. But it's true, man. I know, we've said in the past, which maybe we need to do another series on this, but I refer to it as like a business in a box, right? Where again, exactly everything that you just said, you can essentially build your own little business with revenues and cash flow and assets all within vaults. I mean, it's just crazy. So yeah, when you start thinking of it like that, it really opens up the opportunity. And to your point, I mean, yes, obviously there's risk in crypto, but it scales, right? So if you're trying to get, 100% APR, then yeah, you're gonna have to get a little more down the risk curve, right? But if you're happy beating a savings account or a traditional stock, although this year has been insane for stocks, but historically speaking, you can get away with 10-20% APR, which is amazing compared to traditional assets, and you have a lot less risk. I mean, again, the last year's been brutal because it seems like it's only gone down, but all of that is cyclical. And the other crazy part that I know we've talked about before is we're able to do these sort of numbers not only in a bear market, but also as opposed to holding, right? Because when you have, say you have Bitcoin or ETH, your options are very limited, right? You can either borrow against your assets, you can hold it in your wallet, or you can try to turn those assets into more assets through, high risk plays. Well, with LP providing, you get all the benefits of, holding that asset and having full exposure to that asset, but now you're also earning as well. And so again, I'm oversimplifying it a little bit, but other than impermanent loss, which, again, as long as you have wide ranges and you use the AILM and you are diversified well, impermanent loss really is not as big a deal as people make it out to be. The reason it has such a bad name is because people try to farm with insane tight ranges. But in this situation we're looking at right now, I mean, a minus 38% to a 61% spread. I mean, that's very, very healthy. So, obviously, again, eShare is a lot more volatile than ETH or Bitcoin for sure. But you can apply those same principles to, your more blue chip positions, and it is way better than just holding those assets in your wallet, not doing anything, especially over a long-term time horizon. Maybe a year might have differing results, but if you're doing this over 2, 3, 4 years, and we get another bull run, then the numbers speak for themselves.
I'm glad you brought something up because I had one last question before I let you go. And it has to do with something you just said, which is, hey, if you have whatever token it is, for example, you said like Bitcoin or ETH, right? And it'd be better to essentially deposit that or have a position in a vault with those tokens because you're earning fees or you're earning on that investment. And depending on what vault you're in, it could be compounding or it could be profiting because you're using that token as liquidity, providing liquidity, right? So here's the question. I believe I know the answer, but I want to get it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. And maybe there's some even kind of side benefits or more clarity on it. So the reason why I created this vault, which I created this one by the way, eShare mining rig, was because I'm bullish on eShare. And my belief is that eShare eventually, whether that's a year, maybe it's two, maybe it's longer, will get back up into the $100 range per token, maybe even $1,000 range per token, right? So, for example, AJ, I have $65 here in this vault, and currently, I believe eShare is around, let's call it $6 just for even numbers. Okay. Now, I know that according to these statistics right here, this $65 is not all eShare. It is part ETH, part eShare, right? But this really represents overall I guess for lack of a better term, the eShare token as the LP, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So and there's probably some more nuances to it and nerdy stuff, but we're not going to get into that. So let's just say that if I have $65 deposited into this vault, and let's say eShares were $6 per token, that basically means I have about 10.8 eShare, right? Is that just kind of correct, AJ, roughly?
Yeah, so it would be, again, there's some nuance. It would be half. So I guess technically, right, if it's 60% and your position is 60, so yeah, you're probably around $40 worth of eShare. Is the actual split.
Gotcha. But I guess the kind of the nuance or the argument might be is that eShare and ETH are paired together. So if ETH goes up, it's going to naturally drag eShare up, right?
Totally, totally, bro. Yeah, and that's another thing that people overlook, through LP, you have what is called liquidity bonding, so that yeah, when two, the deeper the LP, and in our case, each area is basically only tied with Ethereum, you get a lot of the benefit of ETH, going up or down because of that. So
Okay, so I guess this is kind of part of my question, and maybe some nerdy stuff will come out of it. So right now, again, eShare is roughly at $6. If eShare goes up to, let's say, $100, does that mean that, and I'm going to use this 10.8 that I have on my calculator as kind of like just the overall number of eShare that I have. I know you said it's like $40 worth, but I'm just going to say 10.8. So if we go to $100 divided by 6, that's basically like a 16.6x. Does that mean my $65 is going to 16.6x and turn into $1,079?
yeah, so again, this is a really good conversation. So the short answer is not really. And again, I don't want that to sound like FUD because there's a lot more to it than that. So what will happen is that, and this is where the whole argument of impermanent loss comes into play, right? Because at a very basic level, regardless of swapping or different fees or anything else, the definition of an impermanent loss, and to what people are most used to that word, is that you actually end up with less value than if you would just hold the token in your wallet. But that doesn't account for the actual fees and volume either. So the short answer is, and again, there's a lot of nerdy stuff that, to put it your way, that goes into this. But the end result is close enough that you're still getting all the upside. And you've been earning the fees the whole way. And that is the one thing that people tend to forget about when they're trying to make this argument. So in your point, Christian, say, yeah, that we did a 20x on eShare. Now, in terms of dollar value, you may be a little bit better off had you just held the eShare in your wallet and then sold at the very top. But that is a lot harder than it sounds, right? So number one, in order for that argument to really make sense, you'd have to sell at the very top. You'd have to have perfect timing. You'd have to basically be a swing trader where you're buying and selling to protect your position, taking profit, all the above. With LP farming and having an LP position, you don't have to time the top or the bottom. You get a little bit less, multiples, but that is made up for in the yield because if eShare does a 20x, the amount of volume that is going to happen in that particular LP pair will be massive. And so you are earning now from the LP fees to really mitigate any impermanent loss or not as much earning as if you just would have held it in your wallet. So that is really the secret sauce is that yield from LP that will outweigh anything in the long run, and you're able to diversify enough that you're not having to literally pick the all-time high to be able to sell and make a profit, right? So those are all the different things that I look at. And when you take all that into account, I think that LP providing is an easy answer and the correct answer as opposed to just holding. Now, obviously I do think it's important. You still want to have diversification, right? So I would never go all in with anything. Meaning, if you are bullish on ETH or Bitcoin or eShare, maybe keep 10 or 20% of your bag in as the token itself. But again, my experience and my math has shown that it's always better to put your capital to work rather than, just holding it.
100%. Yeah, I'm on the same page. I have eShare just in my wallet, and then I also obviously have eShare here or money invested in this eShare vault, essentially. So so I heard what you said, and so yes, let's say it does. Let's say that amount I said was like a 1,000. Like if it did a 16.6x or whatever it was, and I said, would that turn into 1,000? So I know, obviously the numbers aren't exact. I know that part, but I guess my general point or my question is if it did do like a 16x, would we relatively see my measly $65 right now go into somewhere of like maybe the eight or $900 range?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, we have to do the actual math, and that's where it gets a little bit more complicated because, again, the LP as well, and that's what we were trying to talk about at the beginning of this conversation. Technically speaking, the amount of eShare in the LP is, 60%. So if you had 10 eShare as a total value, you really only have 6 eShare that's actual eShare, right? The other four is ETH. So again, that also puts you a little bit behind. But dollar for dollar, again, I would be what you said is probably very accurate. If you factor in the yield on a 20x from the added volume, the token price going up, and dragging up with it, all those things could put you very close to as if you just held it in your wallet. And honestly, I think in reality it would be more just because of the additional yield. Because again, you got to remember, if you're doing a 20x, um, there's going to be people selling along the way, right? And so that volume, that the buying and selling, it just doesn't 20x overnight, right? And if it did, it usually gets sold down as well. So that was my point about having to try to time the absolute top. It's a lot harder than it sounds to sell when there's a run like that. So with the LP, you're basically, you could have all three. You end up with more ETH, more eShare, and a higher dollar value than just holding it in your wallet. So those are the things that again people need to try to account for. And I know you're a big fan of AI, and so am I. I would have these conversations with a chat GPT. I mean, literally tell it what we're talking about today, run it through GPT or Claude, and it will give you an amazing breakdown of the actual math in real time, that again Christian and I can't necessarily do on a stream. But yeah, I mean LP providing is the it's what the big guys do. I mean, again, all the big institutions, this is what crypto is meant to be, right? It's not about speculating, it's not about hoping that somebody buys the token from you at a higher price. It's about putting your capital to work like a real business, like you said earlier, generating fees, generating yield, and treating crypto like a mature asset, not a casino, right? And that's what DexFi and LP providing does.
100%, my man. Quick question. Not that I want to withdraw the LP to go back to Uniswap and then break it and whatever, but if I were to withdraw the LP now, I
Yeah,
guess my question is why would I be doing that? Or my only assumption is I would be doing it to go into another vault, but what if that other vault has different ranges?
yeah. So again, there's a bunch of answers there. So number one is you can withdraw into any asset. So right here, as you saw, you have it pulled up. Emergency just means if there was an error on the front end or something, you're always able to get your tokens back, right? So that's what emergency is. But the other three, ETH would basically zap out. So what you did in creating ALP, it does all that in reverse and then just gives you whatever asset you want. So that's why you would pick ETH or USDC, would be selling all your positions and consolidating it into either of those assets. Or yeah, you can withdraw the NFT itself, and that would be that third, the ETH eShare, just like we deposited it, and then you know, just be aware because some people do that and say, my money's gone, right? They don't understand that you actually have to go back to Uniswap and break the LP. Once it's back in your wallet, then it's on you, right? You got to do what you got to do to either break it, or in your other example, you could then deposit that as long as it's another vault that uses the same liquidity pair, which again it would. I mean the thickest TVL is the 1% Uniswap pair for eShare ETH, no matter where you go. So yeah, in that case, you would just deposit the LP NFT again, and if the ranges are different, because you can adjust the ranges as well, or maybe somebody that created the vault did different ranges and did not use the AILM, then you would just get it would refund you like it did the original time. Remember, we got like a penny back of eShare and ETH. Well, if the ranges are tighter than what these are, then you would just get more money back essentially, and it would automatically adjust your NFT ranges to be to match.
Gotcha. Got it. After I started listening, I'm like, oh wait, I already know the answer. If the ranges are tighter, then we're basically just going to get a refund.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. Yep. And then just be aware, I mean, if you do get the refund, that's a little bit less that you're earning on. So you may have to then go and create the LP again. If you're doing it with like 10 grand, then you wanna make sure, you get all the credit. So you may have to just go and create LP with the leftovers and then do it again. But it'll get you close for sure.
Man, this has been so informational, AJ. I love it because, sometimes I have eShare or other tokens that, I already have, and I don't want to go sell them on the market and possibly create, maybe not, maybe the correct term is not FUD, but just, some market sentiment, if you will, with whatever token it might be and drop the price. So I would take that token and then create the LP slash NFT on whatever exchange it might be, and then bring it back to DexFi and deposit it. So this has been super informational, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, man, no doubt. And Christian, again, bro, we could do another whole video on what you just said. That is some major next level thinking. I mean, again, the real crypto OGs, they enter and exit like what you just said, and it never hurts the chart. You still get paid. I mean, if everybody knew how to do that, we'd be in a much better situation because we don't see a giant red candle on the chart. But that, again, that's a discussion for another time. And yeah, the more people follow your channel and what you're putting out, I mean, everybody's going to be an expert eventually, man. So I appreciate you inviting me on, and I love going over this stuff and more of a deep dive.
100%. Look, if you're still here watching this video, let me give you the tickets or the alpha. Besides what we already showed, let me kind of just give an extra nugget, if you will, which is, and we briefly touched on it. If you get into a vault right now, especially while the market is down, for lack of a better term, and not doing so well, and you get into maybe it's ETH, maybe it's eShare, maybe it's a different token of your liking, right? While the prices are lower or on sales, we like to call it, then you're building that position in the vault, then come 6 months, come 1 year or whatever, and the tides rise, then guess what? Your deposited amount will rise as well. This is exactly why I asked AJ the question. Hey, AJ, if I have $65 right now and roughly we do a 16.6x from here, roughly speaking, am I looking at, $1,000 deposited amount here, right? And the overall answer was yes. Yes, there's some nuances to that, blah, blah, blah. But the overall answer is yes. So the way I look at it, AJ, is this. The newbies, just like myself when I was a newbie, got into crypto was, hey, let's get Bitcoin and let's wait for it to moon or whatever, right? The whole different all the different tokens with the same story, moon, 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 win Lambo, win Lambo, win Lambo, right? Well, here, not only do we have the opportunity to do that, but we're earning the fees in whatever token we want along the way. And with this cool software, we're able to compound back into it to build the position bigger. That is the alpha, my friends. That is the tickets. AJ, thank you for taking the time to come here. I value your time so much. You are truly an inspiration.
Thank you, brother. Much love to you, man. Thanks for always having me. And shout out to all of you for always watching and learning. That's what matters. So, all right, cheers, guys.
All right, guys. See you on the next one.